The night is soft and quiet, wrapping around you like a gentle blanket. Wherever you are, let ourselves pause and feel the world slowing down. The rush of the day has ended. There is no work to be done, no task to complete, nothing that needs your attention right now. This moment is yours and yours alone. Slowly, take a deep, comfortable breath in and let it drift out, long and easy. Feel the weight of the air fill your lungs, then gently release it. Another breath in, and another. Breath out. With every exhale, imagine the tension leaving your body like mist lifting from the surface of a still lake. Your shoulders loosen, your jaw softens. Your hands grow heavy and warm in place. As you sink into this quiet moment, imagine that the edges of the world are softening too. The thoughts of the day drift further away like leaves floating downstream. You are safe. You are calm. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Tonight, we are going to step gently into the past, into a world far removed from the noise and light of modern life. This is a History Sleep Story, a relaxing historical bedtime journey, designed to guide your mind toward rest while exploring one of the most mysterious and haunting moments in human history. Our journey begins in the year 536 AD, a year many historians now call the worst year in human history. Something strange and unsettling happened across the known world. Ancient writers described it as a year when the sun dimmed, as though some invisible hand had drawn a gray veil across the sky. Daylight was weak and cold, and night seemed to last forever. Crops withered, weather shifted, and a heavy, quiet uncertainty settled over villages and towns. No one understood what was happening or why, but tonight there is no fear here. We will walk through this time as gentle travelers, dreamers in history's soft twilight. Our steps will be slow and careful. Every sound and every sight will be a part of the lullaby of the past. As the story unfolds, the whispers of history will mingle with the calm rhythm of your breath, helping your body and mind drift toward deep, healing sleep in your imagination. Feel yourself beginning to float backward in time. The present moment grows faint. The hum of electricity, the distant sounds of cars, the subtle vibration of modern life, all of it begins to fall away. The world is changing around you. Bright lights become candle flames. Streets narrow to dirt paths. The smooth edges of modern buildings fade into rough stone and timber. There are no machines now, no buzzing screens, only the endless rhythm of nature, patient and eternal. You are moving toward 536 AD, carried softly like a leaf on a slow, gentle river. You are safe. You are calm. You are simply a guest in the dream of the past. The world finally settles into stillness, and you open your eyes in a new morning. You are no longer in your own time. You are standing in the cold, muted light of 536 AD. The air is sharp and cool against your skin, and the sky is strange and pale, as if the sun is only a weak memory behind the haze. You find yourself in a small wooden hut, the kind that would belong to a humble farmer or villager in the northern reaches of Europe. The roof is low and thatched, and a faint smoke rises from a smoldering fire in the hearth. The scent of ash and damp earth fills the air, grounding you in this quiet, ancient world. You rise from a simple straw bed and pull a rough wool cloak around your shoulders. Stepping outside, the chill greets you immediately, sharper than expected for spring. The village is still and modest, a handful of wooden huts clustered around muddy paths, their roofs glistening with morning dew. Thin streams of smoke drift upward from chimneys, curling into the dim gray sky. The world feels muted, as if even nature is hesitant to make a sound. Birds remain hidden. A crow calls once from a fence post, its cry carrying in the still air, before fading into silence. A dog barks in the distance, then all is quiet again. A villager passes by slowly, wrapped in simple wool and fur, their face pale in the dim light. They nod a quiet greeting, but their steps are heavy. Life in this year is measured by survival, and the air itself seems to whisper of change and uncertainty. You begin to walk along the damp path, your footsteps soft on the earth. Every sound feels amplified. Hear the gentle squish of mud beneath your shoes, the drip of water from the thatched roof, the faint whisper of the wind across the fields. In the distance, a river glimmers faintly, its surface reflecting the weak, silvery sky. You cross a small wooden bridge, the planks creaking under your weight, and pause to listen to the soft trickle of water below. This sound, simple and eternal, becomes a part of the lullaby of history. As you stand there, the present drifts even farther away. All that exists is this quiet village, this cold spring morning, this soft world frozen in time. You breathe deeply, taking in the cool, damp air, and feel your body sink into the rhythm of this place. This is the doorway to your journey, the first gentle step into the mystery of 536 AD, where history moves slowly and sleep is always close at hand. The morning of 536 AD unfolds slowly and softly, as if the world itself is reluctant to wake. You take your first step into this forgotten year, and the modern world vanishes behind you. All the sounds of your usual life cars, voices, electronics fade like mist, leaving only the hushed rhythm of nature and the tender pulse of history. A pale, silvery sky hangs over the land. It is clouded and hazy, a veil of light that mutes the colors of the world. The sun, if it can be called that today, is no more than a soft, blurred circle, faintly glowing above the horizon. It feels as though the earth is holding its breath. And for a moment, so do you. You inhale slowly, and the air smells of wet earth and wood smoke. It carries a sharp freshness, the kind that settles in your chest and clears your thoughts. Beneath your feet, the ground is soft and dark. The mud, damp from nighttime frost that has only just begun to thaw. Puddles mirror the gray sky, rippling gently when a cold breeze passes. Ahead of you lies a tiny village, a scattering of wooden huts and thatched roofs. Each hut is rough but sturdy, its walls made of timber darkened by weather and time. Roofs drip with dew, and thin fingers of smoke curl upward from stone hearths, only to be swallowed by the mist. The village is quiet, not lifeless, but humming with a patient stillness. From the listener's perspective, it feels as though time has slowed to a crawl. Every movement, every sound, every breath of wind stretches long and gentle. The world of 536 AD is not rushing anywhere, and it invites you to follow its pace. Somewhere nearby, a goat bleats softly, followed by the soft clang of a little bell. The sound is gentle and grounding, echoing just enough to remind you that life is here, quiet but present. A chicken flutters its wings, and you hear the scratch of its claws in the dirt. From one hut, the muted sound of a wooden bowl being set on a table drifts into the air. Low and domestic. A woman kneels in the muddy path, her hands buried in the soil of a small garden. Her cloak is heavy wool, its fibers rough and uneven. She pulls a small root from the earth, shakes off the dirt, and sets it aside in a wicker basket. When she notices you, she pauses briefly, her breath rising in a small cloud, and nods once in quiet acknowledgement before returning to her work. No words are needed here. Your own breathing slows, unconsciously matching the calm rhythm of the village. It feels as though your heartbeat is syncing with the land itself, letting the lingering tension of the present dissolve down. The story opens its second voice, the voice of your guide in this year. He is Eirik, a young villager who has never known the world beyond these woods and rivers. He emerges from a low doorway, stooping slightly to avoid the frame. His wool tunic is the color of wet earth, belted at the waist with a simple rope cord. His bare hands are red with cold, and his hair is uncombed but soft, like the fur of the dog that sleeps by his fire. In his left hand, he carries a small bundle of firewood, the sticks bound with twine. In his right, a woven basket for kindling. And Roots? His boots squelch in the mud as he walks, leaving soft impressions that fill slowly with water. He inhales deeply, just as you did, and for a moment, you are breathing in rhythm with him. Breathing in rhythm with 536 AD, you follow Eirik along the village path, past a pen of restless goats. One sniffs the air, then rubs its head against the fence, and Eirik pauses to pat it gently. The wood creaks beneath the animal's weight, and the bell around its neck gives a soft chime, as delicate as a music box in a quiet room. Soon, the path narrows and curves, leading to the fringe of the forest. Trees rise like silent sentinels, their bare branches etched black against the hazy sky. The ground darkens, blanketed in wet leaves and patches of deep moss. A raven calls once from a high branch, the sound cutting through the stillness, and then the forest swallows it. You step onto the forest path, your shoes sinking into the damp soil, and immediately the world feels heavier, quieter, more intimate. The air is cooler here, carrying the rich perfume of the wood's wet bark, moss, and the faint metallic note of distant water. Eirik walks ahead, sure-footed and silent, his movements unhurried. Every so often, he glances back, meeting your eyes, with the calm assurance of someone who knows these paths as well as his own heartbeat. Your mind drifts with the rhythm of his steps, and sleep presses softly at the edges of your awareness. But the story holds you gently awake, guiding you deeper into this peaceful world. Further from the noise of your own time, a gust of wind rustles the treetops, and a shower of droplets falls from the branches, tapping softly on leaves and earth. Somewhere nearby, water murmurs over stones, a stream calling in its liquid voice. Your ears follow it automatically, letting the gentle sound lead your attention, letting all other thoughts float away. The forest path widens slightly, allowing the soft gray light of morning to filter through the bare branches overhead. The hush of the world is profound here, broken only by occasional Russelza birds shifting in the canopy, the faint drip of water from leaves, the muted crunch of footsteps in damp soil. You walk in Eirik's quiet footsteps, each movement deliberate, each sound part of the forest's soft rhythm. The ground underfoot is springy with wet moss and rotting leaves, and your breath puffs lightly in the cool air. Soon, the sound of running water grows clearer, a steady murmur that calms your thoughts. Eirik leads you toward a narrow stream, dark and reflective, threading like liquid glass through the woods. Smooth stones line its banks, glistening from the night's moisture, and here and there, thin edges of ice cling to the shaded side. He kneels at the stream, setting down his basket and cups water into his hands. He splashes his face lightly, the drops scattering like tiny beads across his rough wool tunic. He gestures for you to do the same, and when you kneel beside him, the water bites with cold clarity, sending a tingle through your fingers. The listeners? Perspective drifts here, carried by sensory details, the cool air filling your lungs. The stream's whisper twining around your thoughts, the feeling of history pressing gently but comfortingly around you. This is a world that moves at the pace of breath. From Eirik's point of view, this ritual is daily life. He has grown up with the stream as his clock, the forest as his walls, the wind as his messenger. He fills his basket with damp wood. 4. The hearth checks the ground for roots or herbs, and listens to the forest's quiet signals: a twig snap, a crow's warning call, a change in the breeze. He motions for you to follow him further along the stream, and you walk together, the forest shifting gently around you. Birdsong is rare this year, muted by the gray sky and the cooling earth. But every so often, a distant call rises, clear and pure against the silence. The path opens into a small meadow. And suddenly the sky feels larger, though still soft and hazy. Patches of early wildflowers struggle up from the damp soil, their colors faint against the washed-out day, but each bloom feels like a quiet triumph. Mist clings to the grass, and the scent of wet earth and faint smoke drifts on the light. Wind, from your listener's perspective, this meadow is a lullaby made of color and air. The sky above is a muted silver dome, the forest edge a soft frame, and the distant village smoke is a thread tying you to life, but never disturbing the stillness. Eirik pauses at the meadow's edge, resting his basket against his hip, and breathes. In the open air, he hums softly, a tuneless melody passed down without words, the kind born from repetition and the need to fill quiet moments. It mingles with the wind, the stream's murmur, and the soft shiver of grass, creating a natural song of sleep and history intertwined as you walk the meadow together. Small details catch your attention. A droplet clinging to a blade of grass sways with the breeze before falling silently. A lone raven glides overhead, wings spreading against the gray sky. A set of goat hoof prints, soft and rounded, leads toward. The river bend. Eirik follows the tracks briefly, checking the soft ground. These details are part of his survival, but for you, they are part of the deep immersion into a world that existed before noise, before hurry, before distraction. The meadow rises into a gentle hill, and as you walk to the crest, the entire valley opens below. The village appears small, a cluster of dark huts tucked beside the winding river. The smoke from hearth fires drifts upward, fading into the overcast sky. Beyond, the river catches the dim light, its surface broken by slow ripples, silver and calm. You pause at the hilltop, and your breathing slows even more, syncing with this world's eternal pace. From Eirik's perspective, this valley is everything. The source of his food, the shelter of his ancestors, the path he walks every day. From your perspective, it is a painting come alive, soft-edged and timeless. A lullaby in gray and green and silver. As you stand there, wind brushing softly against your face, the edges of the present moment blur. The modern world feels impossibly far away, and all that remains is this slow, breathing land, its patience wrapping around you like a blanket. The wind at the hilltop softens, and for a long moment, the world seems to hold still. From here, you watch the slow river, the tiny figures of villagers moving like pieces in a patient ritual, and the forest cradling the valley on all sides. Time in 536 AD is gentle and heavy. A blanket of moments that drift rather than rush. Eirik shifts the basket against his hip, then begins his unhurried walk back down the hill. You follow, your steps sinking slightly into the damp soil, the soft squelch and occasional crack of twigs, the only sounds beneath your feet. The path curls along the meadow and leads back into the fringe of the forest. As you enter the shadow of the trees again, the air grows cooler, carrying the rich perfume of wet bark, moss, and faint smoke drifting from the village. The forest canopy muffles the wind, leaving only the occasional whisper of leaves and the far-off murmur of water. From your listener's perspective, the forest feels like a living being, breathing slowly, its heartbeats hidden in the soft rustles and drips. Your mind begins to float, thoughts loosening their grip as the hypnotic rhythm of footsteps and forest sounds guide you deeper. Ahead of you, Eirik moves with instinctive ease, stepping over exposed roots and puddles without breaking stride. He pauses at a fallen log slick with moss, crouching to lift a few pieces of damp wood, tucking them into his basket. A tiny beetle scurries from under the bark, and Eirik gently places the log back, careful not to disturb more than necessary. The village comes into view again through the bare branches. And as you emerge from the trees, the sounds of quiet life greet you: a dog barking softly, the hollow thump of an axe against wood, and the laughter of a child chasing a hen through the mud. From Eric's perspective, this is the rhythm of survival and comfort. Each sound is a signal. The dog means the goats are safe. The axe means firewood. We'll keep the night warm. The children's laughter is life continuing as it always has. Despite the gray skies of this strange year, you step into the beating heart of the village, if such a thing can be called a beating heart that never hurries. Smoke curls from chimneys, mixing with the scent of wet earth and straw. The central path is muddy, lined with small fences of uneven wood, and hens scratch at the ground, their tiny clucks almost comical in the soft silence. Eric pauses near the well, lowering the bucket slowly. The rope creaks, and after a moment's echo, the splash of water reaches your ears. He pulls the bucket up carefully, droplets trailing down the rope, and takes a long, slow drink before offering it to you. The water is cool and earthy, tasting faintly of stone and soil, a taste that belongs entirely to this year. From the listener's perspective, this act feels ritualistic and soothing, a small moment of connection with the past, shared in silence and calm. A thin dog trots past, its fur patchy but soft-looking, and it pauses to sniff your hand before wandering off toward the huts. Children crouch nearby, drawing circles and lines in the mud with sticks, their faces smudged but content. Laughter comes and goes like the wind, never loud, always gentle enough to feel part of the air itself. Eric moves toward his hut, setting down his basket of wood and roots near the doorway. He brushes his hands against his tunic, then sits briefly on a low bench carved from a tree trunk, his gaze wandering toward the river. You join him, letting your eyes follow the same path from the muddy path to the slow-moving water. To the trees beyond, a raven lands on the fence post, tilting its head, its black feathers a stark contrast against the pale sky. It ruffles once, then settles into stillness, as if it too is listening to the quiet pulse of the village. From here, life appears timeless. Every gesture, every sound, every drift of smoke is a fragment of a lullaby written by survival and simplicity. Back in the village, life folds into evening rituals. A woman kneels by a hearth, feeding thin sticks to the fire. The flames crackle and spit softly as smoke curls upward, catching the dim light. A man emerges from a hut carrying a bundle of straw, spreading it near the goat pen. The goats shuffle and bleat faintly, the bells at their necks giving a slow, uneven chime that mingles with the distant river sound. From the listener's perspective, every motion is hypnotic. The slow stirring of a wooden spoon in a pot, the soft thud of firewood placed beside a hearth, the flutter of a single bird landing on the roof beams. The air cools, and thin mist creeps through the village paths, softening the shapes of huts and fences. Smoke and mist blend together, creating a dreamlike veil. Eric opens the door to his hut, and you step inside to a small, warm space, glowing with firelight. The interior is simpler, low fire pit in the center, a few clay pots and wooden bowls, and bundles of dried herbs hanging from the beams. A dog lifts its head from the straw in the corner, wagging its tail softly before settling again. Eric moves slowly, placing wood near the fire, checking the pot that hangs over the low flames, and adjusting the lid. The listener's breath begins. To mirror the fire's rhythm, inhale with a faint rise of heat, exhale with a crackle of wood. Outside, the village is quieting. Only the river continues its whisper, joined by the occasional lowing of a goat or the rustle of wind against the thatch roofs. From Eric's perspective, this is the heart of life in 536 AD. Food, fire, shelter, and quiet companionship define his world. From your perspective, this moment is a soft cocoon of safety, a living echo of a world that moves slowly enough to carry you into rest. You sit by the fire, feeling warmth spread through your fingers, and watch the shadows on the hut. Walls dance lazily. The flames pop softly, smoke curls and disappears, and Eirik hums a low, aimless tune, not for entertainment, but because humming feels like breathing made music as the last moments of section to settle. The village is bathed in muted evening. The world beyond does not exist here, and your mind drifts in the gentle current of history and sleep. The hours drift quietly as you sit with Eirik on the rough-hewn bench outside his hut, watching the village move at its gentle, unchanging pace. Time in 536 AD is not measured by clocks or alarms, but by shadows, smoke, and the patient rhythm of life itself. The gray sky remains a soft dome, and the sun still hides behind its veil, casting muted light that smooths every edge and blurs the line between day and dream. A soft breeze carries the smell of damp earth and distant firewood, mixed with the faint aroma of simmering stew from a nearby hut. A hen flutters onto the fence, ruffling her feathers before settling down with a low, contented cluck. Nothing is hurried, and the village hums in its quiet rituals. From your listener's perspective, the world is a lullaby of small, gentle sounds. The crackle of a fire hidden inside a hearth, the soft murmur of two women exchanging a few words while grinding grain, the distant splash of the river against stones, the whisper of wind threading through the forest-edged sound is slow, unbroken, and deeply grounding. And you feel your own thoughts slow to match the rhythm of this place. Eirik stands and lifts the basket again, nodding for you to follow as he walks toward the riverbank. His boots leave deep impressions in the mud, and the occasional puddle ripples as he steps past. Children wave shyly as you pass, their faces bright with curiosity but softened by the misty light of the day. The river is calm today, its surface a muted silver, broken only by the occasional swirl of current around a half-submerged stone. Reeds along the bank bend gently, their tips brushing the surface of the water. Eirik sets down the basket and crouches, running his fingers along the waterline. He watches the current for a long moment, his face still and thoughtful, as if reading a familiar language written only in ripples. From his perspective, this river is a lifeline, feeds the goats, fills the cooking pots, and offers the soft music of survival. From your perspective, the river is a mirror of calm, a liquid thread tying the village to the forest, to the hills, and to your own breath. The sky shifts slightly, the light dimming as clouds thicken, and Eirik rises, signaling it is time to return before the chill deepens. The walk back to the village is unhurried, the forest framing each step like a slow-moving painting. Your eyelids feel heavy, as though the forest and the mist are gently inviting you to drift into its rhythm, completely. The evening in 536 AD drifts in softly, like mist rolling down from the hills. The sky is a pale silver, deepening to gentle gray as the day sighs into night. You find yourself stepping out of Eirik's hut, drawn by the soft rhythm of the village. Preparing for the long hours of darkness, the air carries the scent of wood smoke and damp earth, mingled with the subtle fragrance of herbs hung to dry. Chickens have settled, goats nuzzle together near their pen, and the dog stretches by the doorway, its tail thumping once in lazy acknowledgement. The village is alive, but its heartbeat is slow and steady, perfect for guiding your own thoughts toward calm and rest. From your listener's perspective, every sound is a whisper, the soft clack of wooden bowls as neighbors exchange small gifts of food, the gentle bleat of a goat settling into the low hum of conversation drifting like a lullaby over the cold air from Eirik's perspective. This is a sacred, ordinary hour, the transition from work to watchfulness, when firelight replaces sunlight, and stories replace the labor of the day. He gestures for you to follow. And together, you walk toward the small village square, where a few torches flicker along wooden stakes. The light is golden and trembling, casting long, soft shadows on the damp earth. Villagers move slowly, wrapped in woolen cloaks, faces peaceful and worn with the rhythm of simple life. A man kneels near a clay oven, turning flatbread with careful hands. The scent drifts to you, warm grain and smoke, the smell of survival and comfort. A child tugs at the man's sleeve, and he smiles, handing the child a warm piece, which the child cradles like treasure before nibbling. Your eyes wander to the huts, where doorways glow faintly with firelight. Inside, you glimpse the lives of 536 AD unfolding in quiet rituals. A woman spinning wool, her foot rhythmically pressing the treadle, a man repairing a wooden tool, blade glinting in the firelight. A family huddled around a simple stew, hands extended toward the heat. Each scene is like a page in a living lullaby, timeless and unhurried, inviting your mind to settle deeper into stillness. As the village square quiets, Eirik leads you along the dirt path toward the river docks. Here, the soft lap of water against wood creates a gentle heartbeat beneath the night sky. A few small boats are tied to the posts, their hulls reflecting the quivering torchlight. Pauses, resting a hand on the worn wood of a dock post, and breathes in the night air. From his perspective, these boats are lifelines, carrying fish, goods, and news from nearby hamlets. But tonight, under the soft haze of the year 536, they feel more like shadows in a dream, silent and waiting for the river's lullaby to rock them gently. From your listener's perspective, this riverbank moment is hypnotic. The ripples reflect the torchlight like shards of liquid gold, and the soft gurgle of water against the shore carries you further into a meditative calm. Mist gathers over the water, and the far bank is no more than a dark line in the silver fog. You walk slowly along the shore, letting the sound of the river guide your steps, until the village fades behind you, leaving only the whisper of the forest and the soft lap of water. Eirik lifts a lantern from his belt, and its circle of light sways gently across the path. Shadows of reeds and branches move like dancers, never hurried, never harsh. The light catches a pair of watchful eyes, perhaps a fox, before they vanish into the underbrush, leaving only the night and the sound of your own soft breaths. The path curves gently to a small clearing overlooking the river bend. Stars tremble faintly through the thin veil of clouds, faint pinpricks of light against the gray night sky. Eirik sets the lantern down on a stone, and for a long, timeless moment, you stand in silence together, listening to the river's endless lullaby. From Eirik's perspective, this night patrol is ordinary, but grounding. He learns the world by its quiet signals: a shift in the water, a rustle in the leaves, a distant call of an owl. Each sound is a piece of the story of survival. From your perspective, the sounds become a gentle wave, carrying you into a half-dream state. The water sighs, the forest whispers, the lantern flame flickers softly in rhythm with the wind. It is, in this timeless quiet, under the slow pulse of night in 536 AD, that you feel your own breath settle even deeper, as though the village, the river, and your heartbeat are part of the same ancient rhythm. The river bend fades behind you as Eirik lifts his lantern again, its warm circle of light swaying gently along the soft earthen path. The night in 536 AD feels vast, yet comforting, as if the world is both infinite and intimate all at once. From your listener's perspective, the forest hums with life in whispers. A low hoot of an owl echoes across the water leaves, stir softly under the touch of the night breeze somewhere far off. A branch cracks and settles. Each sound is distant and gentle, folding into the tapestry of night, inviting your thoughts to slow and drift. Eirik walks slowly, familiar with every curve of the path, and occasionally pauses to listen, his head tilting. slightly, reading the forest and river like a story only he knows. His hand brushes a branch, shaking off droplets of dew that glistened faintly in the lamplight. After a short, unhurried walk, the path opens into another clearing, where a few wooden posts rise from the ground, marking the edge of the villages. Grazing land, shadows of the goats huddled together in their pens sway gently, their bodies warm against the night chill. A soft bleat drifts toward you, followed by the clink of a small bell. From Irik's perspective, this check on the animals is part of his nightly ritual, a simple act of survival. He leans against the wooden fence, watching his flock with quiet pride, knowing that each animal means milk, meat, and life for the village. From your perspective, this moment feels like a gentle pause. A snapshot of history frozen in mist and moonlight. The smell of hay and earth mixes with the cool air, and you feel yourself relaxing further. Your breath deepening with the rhythm of this peaceful world as you move with Irik back toward the heart of the village. The lantern light flickers over, familiar huts casting long shadows that sway gently with your movement. The night grows cooler and mist thickens, wrapping the village paths in silver-gray veils. A door opens quietly nearby, and you glimpse a family inside. The fire glows orange, casting a circle of warmth where a mother stirs a small pot and a father repairs a leather strap. Children curl near the fire, heads heavy with sleep, their tiny chests rising and falling in time with the fire's breathing. From your listener's perspective, this is pure tranquility world, with no rush, no noise, but the music of survival. The only time here is the time of the earth and the fire, and your body seems to understand this ancient rhythm, softening into calm. Eirik leads you further down a narrow lane. The ground soft beneath your steps until you reach the edge of the river again, where two small boats are moored in silence. He sets down the lantern, and you both sit on the worn wooden planks, feet dangling above the dark water. The river whispers its endless song, and reflections of the faint stars shiver across its surface. A thin mist curls upward, wrapping you in the embrace of the night. From Irik's perspective, this is a sacred moment of reflection, a pause in the day where he remembers the weight of the world and the gift of stillness. From your perspective, this moment feels like a lullaby made of water, wood, and distant wind, each sound guiding your thoughts toward the edges of sleep. Time passes slowly here, measured only by the flicker of the lantern and the soft rhythm of the river. You notice small details that seem to etch themselves into memory. A single ripple spreading in perfect circles from a falling leaf. The creak of the wooden dock beneath shifting weight, the faint scent of smoke drifting from unseen hearthsit is as though the village, the river, and the night are weaving a cocoon around you, separating this world from the distant noise of modern life. Eventually, Irik stands, gathering the lantern once more. He guides you along the path back to his hut, where a soft glow leaks from the cracks of the wooden door. Inside, the fire has burned lower, and the dog raises its head, tail wagging lazily before settling back to sleep. You sit by the fire, and Irik hums softly, a tune without words, old as the hills and rivers themselves. The sound blends with the crackle of the embers, and your eyes grow heavier, your mind floating in the rhythm of a life so slow and gentle that sleep feels inevitable. The village is nearly silent now, wrapped in the gentle hush of night. Outside, the firelight from scattered huts has dimmed, leaving thin curls of smoke drifting into the misty air. The lantern in Irik's hut casts a soft, golden circle, flickering against the rough wooden walls. From your listener's perspective, the quiet is comforting, like a soft blanket drawn over the world. Every small sound, the crackle of embers, the occasional drip of water from the thatch, the dog's faint silence softly, slowing your thoughts further into calm. Irik stands by the doorway, watching the village settle into its nocturnal rhythm. From his perspective, this is a sacred hour, a time when life narrows to fire, shadow, and the steady beat of survival. He gestures for you to follow once more, and together you step into the night air. The path is damp beneath your feet, the earth soft from the day's mist. Above, the clouds have thinned, revealing fragments of a starry sky, like tiny lanterns scattered in infinite space. The moon is pale, veiled in a soft halo, and the forest at the edge of the village stands like silent guardians. From your listener's perspective, the world has become dreamlike, half real and half memory. Mist drifts low along the paths, curling around your ankles, and your breath mingles with the cool air in ghostly wisps. Eirik leads you toward the meadow on the hill, where earlier in the day you watched the river from above. The climb is slow and deliberate, the sounds of the night accompanying each step. The soft rustle of grass against your boots, the distant gurgle of the river. Steady and eternal, the faint creak of Eirik's leather belt as he moves at the hilltop. The village below glows faintly, a cluster of warm dots in the gray sea of mist. Beyond, the river reflects the stars, its winding shape like a ribbon of soft light. From Eirik's perspective, this view is a reminder of both solitude and connection. Every fence, every animal below is a piece of his life, tied to this quiet land, this quiet year, this quiet night. From your perspective, the view is hypnotic. The entire world seems to breathe slowly, as if it too is ready to rest. You lie back in the cool grass, the earth firm but comforting beneath you. Stars blink overhead, tiny ancient fires that have witnessed centuries of nights like this. Eirik sits nearby, silent but at ease, letting the night speak for itself. The forest whispers softly, branches shifting with the tender night wind. Somewhere distant, a wolf calls, its howl long and low, rolling over the hills like a lullaby. From your listener's perspective, the sound is not frightening but deeply natural, a thread in the great tapestry of the ancient night. Your breath deepens, syncing with the soft rhythm of the world around you. Inhale with the river's sigh, exhale. With the drifting mist, the village fires dim even further, and the stars appear brighter against the soft, dark sky. Eirik leans back on his elbows, gazing upward, eyes reflecting a peace earned by simple survival. From his perspective, the day has ended exactly as it should, with the world intact, the animals safe, the river faithful, and the sky keeping its ancient watch. From your perspective, this is pure stillness, a moment suspended outside of time, where sleep hovers close. Like a soft hand on your shoulder, you close your eyes for a moment, letting the sounds of 536 AD carry you, the distant river lapping against its banks. A muted creak of wooden huts cooling in the night air, the soft, rhythmic bleating of a goat in its pen. When you open them again, the stars have shifted slightly, and Eirik stands, ready to return to the warmth of his hut. He offers you a hand, and together you walk back down the hill, steps slow and steady, the night wrapping around you like a protective cloak as you reach the edge of the village. The lantern in Eirik's hut glows faintly, a small beacon of warmth and rest. Inside, the fire has burned low, and the dog barely stirs as you enter. Eirik adds a single log to the embers, and the fire crackles softly, sending one last puff of smoke into the night. You settle into a corner by the fire, eyes heavy, heart calm. Outside, the village sleeps under the gaze of stars and mist, and the ancient world hums with the soft music of life, continuing unchanged, unhurried, in this timeless stillness. Section 3 of your journey begins to fade, carrying you further toward rest and dreams, wrapped in the quiet lullaby of history. The night deepens in 536 AD, and the village lies beneath a blanket of soft mist, its thatched roofs glistening under pale moonlight. From your listener's perspective, the world feels quieter now than it has all day, as if the earth itself is holding its breath. Eirik steps outside his small hut, lantern in hand, its golden glow swaying like a gentle heartbeat against the dark. He waits for you at the threshold, and together you step into the cool night air, your breath forming tiny clouds that drift into the silver fog. The village paths are soft beneath your feet, damp from the evening dew. Huts sit in silence, doors closed, fires banked low inside. A dog barks once in the distance, then settles quickly into the rhythm of night. From Eirik's perspective, this hour belongs to the quiet observer, to those who know the land by sound and shadow rather than by sight. He moves slowly, pausing to check on the goat pen, listening for the rustle of movement in the grass. Every sound is familiar, every silence reassuring. From your perspective, the air itself feels like a lullaby, filled with the soft hum of life in its most gentle form. You hear the faint crackle of embers from a nearby hut, the sigh of wind brushing the forest line, and a subtle whisper of mist curling between the huts. The path curves toward the forest, where trees rise tall and dark, their branches knitting a delicate roof against the moon. The forest smells of damp moss and cold earth, and each step feels deliberate, inviting your mind to slow and sink into the rhythm of the night. Eirik guides you toward a small clearing where an ancient stone shrine stands, half swallowed by time. Its walls are cracked and worn, carved symbols nearly erased by centuries of rain and frost. He runs a hand along the stone, his fingers tracing grooves once meaningful to his ancestors. From his perspective, this shrine is a living memory, a place to feel the weight of those who survived before him. From your perspective, the shrine is hypnotic in its simplicity, its silent presence anchoring you to a time long past. The air smells of wet stone and faint earth, and you find your breath deepening, your body relaxing into the stillness. Inside the shrine's hollowed center, shadows gather like soft fabric, lit only by the lantern's slow flicker. Tiny insects hum quietly, and the echo of your own steps feels like the memory of someone long gone. Eirik kneels for a moment, head bowed in silent respect, before standing and leading you out to the forest edge again. The mist drifts across the ground, catching moonlight and creating a silver sea that seems to float above the earth. From your listener's perspective, this moment feels outside of time, as though the day, and even your thoughts have slowed to the ancient pace of the land. The forest path gently leads you and Eirik down toward the riverbank, where the air feels cooler, touched with the scent of water and stone. Lantern light flickers over wet leaves, casting soft ripples of shadow that blend seamlessly into the mist curling off the river. From your listener's perspective, each step is slow and deliberate, your awareness narrowing to sound, texture, and breath. You hear the muffled crunch of damp soil underfoot, the occasional whisper of a night bird shifting in its perch, and the low, patient T-voice of the river just ahead. Eirik pauses at the edge of the river, his eyes scanning the dark current, listening for anything unusual or out of place. From his perspective, the river is an old companion, a lifeline in difficult years, a silent witness to the rhythm of survival. He remembers his father teaching him to read its moods, how to hear in its current the stories of weather and season. You kneel beside the water, touching the smooth stones along the shore. They are cold and slick, holding the memory of the river's flow. The lantern light dances over the surface, breaking into 1,000 pieces of gold with every ripple. Eirik lowers his hand into the stream, letting the water slide across his fingers. The river never sleeps, he whispers, his voice calm and even, as if the words themselves are part of the night. Even in the hardest winters, when the sky turned to ash, this river found a way to move. From your listener's perspective, the soft murmur of water and his low voice merge, forming a lullaby for the mind. The thought of the river flowing endlessly through seasons and centuries slows your own sense of time. Drawing you deeper into the dreamlike world of 536 AD, the two of you walk along the curve of the river. The path narrowing to soft mud and reed beds, a small fish leaps in the distance, leaving a quiet splash that echoes in the open air. A frog croaks softly, its voice blending into the natural chorus of night. Eirik begins to share a gentle story, speaking as if he is talking more to the river than to you. My grandfather said there was a year when the sun refused to rise, he murmurs. You listen to the rhythm of his voice, steady and soft. The sky stayed dim, and cold winds came from the mountains. Our people lived by fire and hope. We watched the river every day, because if it froze, we would have no water. But it never did. The river carried us through. From your perspective, the story isn't frightening, but soothing, a reminder that even in the hardest moments of history, life flowed quietly onward, like this river, unhurried and steady. The river widens ahead, forming a shallow bend where stones glint beneath the moonlight. Eirik guides you to a smooth boulder, and the two of you sit quietly, letting the world slow even further above. The clouds have thinned, and stars scatter like salt across the deep night sky. The moon is brighter now, casting the river in soft silver, turning the mist into a glowing ribbon. From Eirik's perspective, this is the heart of his world, the sky, the water, the soft murmur of earth under nightfall. He leans back slightly, eyes reflecting starlight, and breathes in the cold air with quiet gratitude. From your perspective, time feels dissolved. Your breathing matches the rhythm of the river, and the weight of the world grows distant, leaving only this moment, this stillness. This drifting calm. Eirik picks up a smooth stone and tosses it lightly into the river, where it lands with a muted plunk, sending gentle rings across the water. We used to throw stones for luck, he says softly. Each ring meant the days would stretch on, and the village would endure another season. You pick up a stone yourself, feeling its cool weight in your palm, and let it fall into the river. The rings ripple out in soft, endless circles, merging with the current. A symbol of continuity and calm. The river carries your thoughts downstream, away from the present moment, into a drifting, meditative quiet. The stars shimmer above, and your eyelids grow heavier, as if gravity itself is inviting you to rest here at the edge of the world. The river continues its quiet song, a low and endless murmur that feels older than the land itself. Eirik sits beside you on the smooth boulder, his lantern resting at his feet, its light trembling like a heartbeat in the mist. From your listeners' perspective, the world has narrowed to three things: the soft night air, the sound of water, and the steady rhythm of your own breath. The forest behind you is a dark silhouette, and the village is only a memory in the distance, its fires faint, pinpricks in the fog. Out here, time stretches thin, and even your thoughts begin to float. As if carried by the river itself, above, the stars have multiplied, spilling across the deep blue sky. A sliver of moon hangs low, and the reflection of both stars and moon wavers on the river's moving skin, breaking and reforming with each gentle ripple. Eirik tilts his head back to gaze upward, his voice a soft murmur. The sky has not always been kind to us, he says. In the year of cold, even the stars felt distant. But on nights like this, when they return, it feels as if the heavens remember us again. From your perspective, the stars seem closer than you've ever seen them, their quiet presence reassuring. A silent promise that the world, no matter how dark its days, always drifts back to light. A soft breeze moves through the reeds, carrying the scent of wet earth and distant pine. The sound of rustling grass and the occasional soft splash of the river are the only voices of this ancient night. Eirik leans forward, hands resting on his knees, and begins a story in a slow, even tone. He speaks of the last great hunt before. The sky dimmed when the village gathered under a sun that felt warm for the last time in months. Hunters brought back deer and boar, and the smoke of the feast rose high, mixing with laughter. But soon the sky turned gray, and the air cooled with a breath that felt strange, like the world was holding a secret. They lit fires for warmth and light, leaning on the river for life, watching the seasons change more slowly than ever before. From your listener's perspective, the story drapes over your thoughts like a blanket, not frightening, but gently weighty. A reminder that human lives have always ebbed and flowed like water, patient and enduring. The breeze fades again, leaving only the hush of the river. You notice how your breathing has slowed, matching the current's easy rhythm. Your limbs feel heavier, resting naturally against the earth, and the weight of the night seems to cradle you rather than press upon you. Eirik remains quiet for a time, letting the silence speak, as though the river itself has taken over the story. Then, in a voice barely louder than the wind, he says, "My grandmother told me to always listen to the land. When the sky turned dark and the sun was a memory, she said the land still spoke if we were quiet." You look to the water, and the ripples seem like words, flowing outward in endless, soothing lines. The two of you rise slowly, leaving the boulder behind, and follow the riverbank until the trees thin into another wide meadow, its grass glinting with silver dew. The lantern light makes each drop sparkle, as if stars have fallen to the earth. From your perspective, the ground itself looks like a dreamscape, an extension of the sky above, infinite and serene. Eirik walks ahead, his shadow stretching long and thin behind him. His movements are unhurried, matching the meditative pace of the night. At the center of the meadow, he stops and lies back in the grass, hands behind his head, eyes fixed on the sky. He gestures for you to join him, and you sink into the cool, soft earth, the world around you folding into a gentle cradle. Here, time feels suspended. The moon glows pale and constant. The stars wheel slowly overhead, and all the weight of the waking world drifts further away. Eirik breaks the silence with a single, slow sentence. Even in the worst year, the sky still turned. The world still moved. The words linger like a soft echo, and you feel your thoughts dissolve into the rhythm of night, floating with the river and the stars, untethered and free. The meadow cradles you in its soft embrace, the cool earth beneath your back grounding you in this quiet moment of 536 AD. The night sky above stretches endless, a silent dome scattered with starlight, and the whispering grass moves gently with the breath of the wind. From your listener's perspective, the world feels infinite, yet perfectly safe, as if the universe itself is watching over you. Humming a lullaby in the language of crickets and river water beside you, Eirik lies motionless, for a while, eyes following the slow drift of clouds. From his perspective, these small moments are how life endures, not in the noise of markets or the worry of survival, but in the quiet knowledge that the earth is still here, and so is he. After a time, he turns his head toward you, his voice low and almost blending with the wind. "The meadow is our clock," he says. "We know the season by its colors, the hour by its shadows. Long before I was born, people lay here just as we are now, trusting the night to hold them." From your perspective, the words sink deep, not just as history, but as a feeling of connection through time. The night doesn't rush, it never has. And in that realization, your body relaxes a little more, shoulders soft against the earth, breath slow and steady. Eirik sits up slowly, brushing dew from his hands, and gestures for you to follow him once more. The lantern is lit again, its soft halo of gold cutting through the meadow's silver. You walk together toward the distant glow of the village. The river now a quiet ribbon of sound behind you. The path home is gentle, lined with the faint silhouettes of sleeping trees. The night air carries the smell of wood smoke and damp soil, signs that the village is not far. From your listener's perspective, each step feels heavier, not with effort, but with the soft weight of drowsiness, as if the land itself is guiding you toward rest. As the village comes into view, you notice how different it looks under the deep night. The mist clings to the rooftops like a soft blanket, and the faint orange glow of banked fires flickers through cracks in wooden shutters. A dog lifts its head as you pass, gives one slow wag of its tail, and returns to sleep, trusting the night and your footsteps alike. From Eric's perspective, this is the truest form of home, not the walls themselves, but the safety of a place that sleeps without fear for a few sacred hours each night. He leads you to the small open space at the center of the village where an old oak tree stands, its branches bare in the cold season. The lantern light paints the trunk in warm tones, and the tree's shadow stretches long and soft across the sleeping huts. Eric rests a hand against the rough bark, its voice quieter than ever. This tree has seen more winters than any of. When the sun faded, it stood silent. When we returned to planting, it still stood. In its patience, there is a lesson. From your perspective, the tree feels alive in the silence, its unseen roots gripping the earth with unshakable calm. Even the night seems to lean against it. Steady and assured, the walk continues to Eric's hut, and the door creaks softly as he pushes it open. Inside, the fire is a bed of red coals, breathing warmth into the room. The dog curls closer to the embers, tail twitching in a dream. The lantern is set down, and shadows claim the corners of the small space, leaving only the heart of the room aglow. From your listener's perspective, the hut is the warmest, safest place in the world right now. Every detail, the creak of wood, the faint smell of smoke, the soft dog's sigh working like a gentle hand pressing your thoughts into sleep. Erik settles onto a wooden bench, looking at the last sparks of the fire. The night has given all it could, he murmurs. Now the rest is for dreams to carry. From his perspective, there is no need for more words. The world outside can hold its stories until morning, and the night, like the river, will continue. It's soft work without you needing to follow it any further tonight. Your breath grows slow and even, the weight of the day fully gone. Your awareness, a soft mist floating in the warmth of the hut. The village sleeps, the river hums, and the stars keep watch, patient and eternal. The hut is quiet, the fire a soft bed of embers, glowing faintly against the cool darkness of 536 AD. The smell of wood smoke lingers, earthy and comforting, while outside, the village sleeps under a heavy blanket of mist. From your listener's perspective, you feel completely sheltered, as if the walls of time have wrapped around you, offering safety in the midst of a long-forgotten year. Your breaths are slow and even, and each exhale seems to sink deeper into the floor of the hut. Grounding you in this ancient calm, Erik leans back against the wooden wall, his eyes reflecting the last red glows of the coals. He waits before he speaks, and when his voice comes, it is soft and unhurried, like a memory surfacing through the quiet. This village has lived through many winters, he murmurs, and each one has whispered the same lesson. The world waits for no one, yet it always makes room for rest. From your perspective, the words drift into the air and settle like snowflakes, light, cold, and gentle. They carry with them centuries of patience, as though the land itself has spoken through him. You imagine the village as it must have been in warmer days. Children running barefoot between huts, dogs wagging their tails in the dust, the river reflecting a brighter sun than the one hidden during this hard year. Erik closes his eyes for a moment, and you sense his thoughts walking into the past. I remember my grandmother telling me of the year when the sun disappeared. The days were as dim as dawn, and the wind smelled of ash. The room seems to listen with you, its wooden beams holding the echo of his memory. But even then, he continues slowly, we gathered like this, around fire and story. We learned to sleep beside the sound of the river, to trust that life would carry on if we were patient enough to let it. From your perspective, these words become more than history. They are a lullaby, reminding you that waiting and resting are part of survival as much as fire and bread. The fire cracks once, a tiny echo in the silence, and then settles into a low red glow again. You notice the weight in your own body, the warmth across your chest and hands, and how each blink lasts a little longer than the last dot outside. The village is a painting of stillness, the mist moving slowly between huts, the river whispering just beyond the trees, the sky holding its quiet stars like a careful hand. The world is in no hurry. And neither are you. Eirik opens his eyes, staring at the ceiling beams, and speaks so softly you almost have to lean toward him in your imagination. Though these streets are silent now, they once carried laughter and life under the same starlit sky. From your perspective, you feel the image form in your mind, ghostly footsteps in the soft earth, the shimmer of torches at night, the muted cheer of voices long gone. The picture is warm, but it drifts like smoke into the drowsiness settling over you. The pause that follows is long and deliberate, allowing your mind to sink into the rhythm of history and silence. The worst year, a past. His voice is a soft murmur now. The dark year became a memory. From your perspective, the repetition is hypnotic, a slow closing of the door to wakefulness, inviting your mind to let go. The hut, the village, the river all become part of a single, meditative moment, timeless and weightless, suspended on the edge of dream. The night outside deepens, and the village breathes in unison with the earth itself. Each hut is a small island of warmth, while beyond the misty meadow, the forest and river cradle the world in a slow, eternal rhythm. From your listener's perspective, you can feel your own body melting into this rhythm, your heartbeat slowing to match the ancient pulse of the land. Inside the hut, the fire is nearly gone, leaving embers that glow like sleepy eyes. A faint hiss of heat escapes every few moments, as if the fire is exhaling along with you. Eirik remains still for a long while, his silhouette a gentle curve in the dim room. From his perspective, this is the hour when the world feels most sacred, between wakefulness and dream, between past and present. Finally he speaks, his voice soft enough to feel like part of the night itself. When the sun disappeared, that year, it was as if the world had taken a long breath and held it. Days were dim, nights endless, yet somehow life went on. He pauses, letting the memory stretch into the air. We learned to count time differently. We did not wait for bright mornings. We waited for small comforts. A warm bowl of soup, the crackle of a fire, the sound of someone breathing beside us in the dark. From your perspective, his words settle like falling snow, each one a soft weight pulling you further into calm, reminding you that even in the hardest times, the simplest moments are enough. The silence after his voice is long, but it is not empty. You hear the faint groan of the wooden walls contracting in the cold. You imagine the distant river whispering under the pale moon, and somewhere a night bird calls, soft and lonely. Before vanishing into the mist, every sound feels like part of a lullaby woven by the land itself. A lullaby that has lasted for more than 1,000 years. Your eyes grow heavier, and each blink lasts longer than the one before, carrying you closer to that quiet threshold where history and dream are the same. Eirik shifts slightly, the straw mat beneath him whispering against the wood floor. And his next words come slowly, spaced with long pauses. Even the worst year could not take. Nights like this, away from us. The world always gave us a place to rest. From your perspective, the cadence of his speech feels like the gentle rocking of a boat on still water, easing you into sleep's current without effort. He lifts a hand toward the small opening in the wall, where a thread of moonlight slices the darkness and whispers, "The same stars you see tonight are the stars my ancestors saw. When the world seemed darkest, they waited under this sky, and it carried them into tomorrow." Your breath deepens without thought, matching the slow, timeless rhythm of the night. Your body is heavy, warm at the core, soft at the edges, as though the earth itself is cradling you in your mind's eye. The village expands and contracts like a living thing, breathing through the mist. It's quite a blessing that seeps into your bones. From Irik's perspective, he feels the presence of generations in this room, not as ghosts, but as the gentle reassurance of continuity. "They endured," he murmurs. "And now we sleep where they once slept. We breathe the same air, and the night holds us all the same." His words are almost a sigh now, less language and more music, melting into the space between thoughts. The final ember of the fire dims, and the room is claimed by shadow, except for the silver thread of moonlight. Your mind drifts, floating between hut and meadow, between river and sky, a feather on the breath of history. The village is quiet, the world is safe, and time itself seems to dissolve, leaving only the gentle certainty that sleep is here and it is kind. The night outside deepens, and the village breathes in unison with the earth itself. Each hut is a small island of warmth, while beyond the misty meadow, the forest and river cradle the world in a slow, eternal rhythm. From your listener's perspective, you can feel your own body melting into this rhythm, your heartbeat slowing to match the ancient pulse of the land. Inside the hut, the fire is nearly gone, leaving embers that glow like sleepy eyes. A faint hiss of heat escapes every few moments, as if the fire is exhaling along with you. Irik remains still for a long while, his silhouette a gentle curve in the dim room. From his perspective, this is the hour when the world feels most sacred between wakefulness and dream. Between past and present, finally he speaks, his voice soft enough to feel like part of the night itself. When the sun disappeared, that year, it was as if the world had taken a long breath and held it. Days were dim, nights endless. Yet, somehow, life went on. He pauses, letting the memory stretch into the air. We learned to count time differently. We did not wait for bright mornings. We waited for small comforts. A warm bowl of soup, the crackle of a fire, the sound of someone breathing beside us in the dark. From your perspective, his words settle like falling snow, each one a soft weight pulling you further into calm, reminding you that even in the hardest times, the simplest moments are enough. The silence after his voice is long, but it is not empty. You hear the faint groan of the wooden walls contracting in the cold. You imagine the distant river whispering under the pale moon, and somewhere a night bird calls, soft and lonely. Before vanishing into the mist, every sound feels like part of a lullaby woven by the land itself. A lullaby that has lasted for more than 1,000 years. Your eyes grow heavier, and each blink lasts longer than the one before, carrying you closer to that quiet threshold where history and dream are the same. Eirik shifts slightly, the straw mat beneath him whispering against the wood floor, and his next words come slowly, spaced with long pauses. Even the worst year could not take. Nights like this, away from us, the world always gave us a place to rest. From your perspective, the cadence of his speech feels like the gentle rocking of a boat on still water, easing you into sleep's current without effort. He lifts a hand toward the small opening in the wall, where a thread of moonlight slices the darkness and whispers, "The same stars you see tonight are the stars my ancestors saw. When the world seemed darkest, they waited under the sky, and it carried them into tomorrow." Your breath deepens without thought, matching the slow, timeless rhythm of the night. Your body is heavy, warm at the core, soft at the edges, as though the earth itself is cradling you in your mind's eye. The village expands and contracts like a living thing, breathing through the mist. It's quiet, a blessing that seeps into your bones. From Eric's perspective, he feels the presence of generations in this room, not as ghosts, but as the gentle reassurance of continuity. They endured, he murmurs, and now we sleep where they once slept. We breathe the same air, and the night holds us all the same. His words are almost a sigh now, less language and more music, melting into the space between thoughts. The final ember of the fire dims, and the room is claimed by shadow, except for the silver thread of moonlight. Your mind drifts, floating between hut and meadow, between river and sky, a feather on the breath of history. The village is quiet, the world is safe, and time itself seems to dissolve, leaving only the gentle certainty that sleep is here, and it is kind. The village is entirely still, held in the soft grip of the night. The river hums its endless lullaby, and the forest at the edge of the meadow listens with patient silence. From your listener's perspective, you're no longer only a visitor. In this village, you are part of it now, woven into its history and its rest. Your breathing matches the night's rhythm, slow and gentle, as if the earth itself exhales with you. Inside the hut, all light has faded, except the thin silver of moonlight. The air smells of cooled wood and faint smoke, a scent that feels like home, even if your home is centuries away. Eric sits with his eyes closed now, body swaying slightly with his own calm breathing. From his perspective, this is the hour when thought dissolves into memory, when memory dissolves into dream, and dream dissolves into the eternal river of night. His voice comes in slow ripples, pausing often enough for silence to do most of the work. The worst year passed. The world waited for us. The night carried us to morning. Every time, he lets the hush fill the room, inviting you to feel that same timeless patience. From your perspective, you are suspended between moments, every thought drifting like a leaf on slow water. You hear the river outside. You feel it inside too, a current of calm moving through you. The sounds of night are soft and few. The hushed flow of the river, the sigh of wind against the huta, distant owl calling once before silence claims it again. Each sound feels like a lullaby from the world itself, reminding you that life continues gently, even when you do nothing but rest. Eric speaks again, barely above a whisper, his words stretching into the stillness. Sleep was our greatest comfort. Sleep was our healer. Even in the long dark, we found peace by closing our eyes and trusting the night. The repetition drapes over your mind like a warm, heavy blanket, slowing your thoughts, melting the edges of wakefulness. From your perspective, you are already halfway in dream, and the voice is less something you listen to, and more something you drift inside. You picture the village beneath the stars, its huts, tiny hums of life in a vast, silent world. Then, slowly, the picture softens. The huts blur into the mist. The river turns to a silver thread. The forest becomes only a shadow against the sky, and soon there is only darkness and the sound of your own slow breath. A perfect mirror of the ancient night. Erik murmurs one last time, his voice as soft as the river's whisper. Sleep. The night is endless and kind. The river carries your dreams. The stars will wait for you. Then, silence fills the hut completely, and time feels like it has stopped, leaving only the deep, cradling weight of rest. The night is complete now, thick with calm, unbroken by any sound but the soft whisper of the river and the quiet song of the wind against the meadow. From your listener's perspective, it feels as if you are floating in the night itself, cradled by the deep patience of the world. Your body is heavy and safe, and your thoughts move as slowly as drifting mist. Inside the hut, the last embers have cooled into soft gray ash, and the room is swallowed by gentle shadow. The air is cool, but comforting, wrapping around you like a soft blanket of the past. Eirik lies back now, his head against the straw mat, hands resting lightly over his chest. From his perspective, this is the truest gift of the night, to surrender fully, to trust that sleep will carry him across the long hours, as it has carried countless lives before his. His voice comes one final time, a slow river of words with long pauses designed to carry you into sleep. We are part of the same story. The river carries all dreams. The night holds all lives gently in its arms. Each phrase sinks into the silence, echoing not with sound, but with feeling, leaving soft ripples of calm behind in your mind. From your perspective, the words feel like the last tether to waking, and with every gentle pause, that tether loosens. The village beyond the walls is only a shape in your imagination, now huts reduced to soft outlines in mist the river. A low, steady whisper. The forest, a silent witness to your sleep. Then, even the images fade, leaving only the gentle rhythm of your own breath, slow, even, endless. Eirik's final whisper drifts into the room like a breeze. Sleep now. The year has passed. The world waits for you, and the stars will always keep watch. Then he says nothing more, and the silence becomes your companion. A silence that is warm, patient, and eternal. You feel yourself dissolve into the night, your body heavy and safe, your mind carried away like a small boat on the stillest river. From this moment, you are no longer listening to a story, you are part of it. Folded into the endless, gentle history of those who rested and survived the quiet turning of the earth. Sleep comes naturally, as if it has been waiting all along, and the night cradles you just as it cradled the villagers of that long ago year. The journey is complete now, and the village of 536 AD fades into the soft embrace of memory. The huts dissolve into the mist, the river becomes only a distant hum, and the forest is nothing but a dark silhouette under the stars. From your listeners' perspective, you are drifting between two worlds, one where the story lived and breathed, and one where sleep waits patiently to receive you. Your body is heavy, warm, and safe, as though the earth itself is cradling you in its slow, eternal rhythm. You inhale deeply, feeling cool air fill your lungs, and exhale softly, releasing every last thread of tension. The journey is complete. The voice whispers, as soft as the river in the night. The world is quiet now, and you are safe. Every breath carries you deeper. Every exhale loosens the weight of thought, and the memory of the village becomes a gentle dream, folded into the corners of your mind like a soft blanket. You feel the night around you, the softest wind brushing against your skin, the distant echo of water, like a heartbeat in the earth, the sky stretching endlessly, holding you without effort. From your perspective, there is no rush, no need to move, no need to think. The story has carried you to this place for one purpose: rest. You have walked the quiet streets of history. You have watched the stars above a silent village. And now the world has grown still just for you. The voice lingers and fades like the ripple of water across smooth stone, leaving long stretches of silence where your mind can drift freely. With each passing moment, sleep comes closer. Your breath is slow and steady, your body soft and heavy, and your thoughts are no longer words but shapes dissolving into the dark. You see the river in your mind one last time, silver thread under the pale moon, and you imagine placing your thoughts upon it, letting them float away, downstream into endless quiet. You are safe, you are calm, you are home in this moment. The story has ended, but its comfort remains, wrapping you in a stillness that has no edges, no urgency, only peace. The village has disappeared completely now, and only the feeling of its safety lingers. The year 536 AD drifts into the distance, becoming a soft memory, a story told to your heart rather than your mind. From your listener's perspective, you are no longer in a hut, no longer by the river or the forest. You are floating in endless calm, carried by the slow, steady current of rest. The voice around you is soft and measured, with long, peaceful pauses. The journey is complete. The story is now a dream, and you are safe. Perfectly safe. Every word lands like a feather on still water, spreading calm through your chest and shoulders. Each pause is longer than the last, inviting you to drift into the space between thoughts. Breathe in, feel cool, quiet air filling your lungs. Breathe out. Let your body sink a little deeper, like a stone settling into soft sand. With every slow inhale, you feel warmth and safety grow. With every gentle exhale, you release the weight of the day, and the soft night receives it without a sound. In your mind's eye, there is only a soft, dark horizon now. No huts, no river, no stars. Just the feeling of floating, cradled by something larger than time, as if the earth and sky have come together to hold you still. The world is quiet now. You are calm, and sleep is here. The words become slower, spaced with long silences, allowing your mind to slip into the rhythm of sleep. You imagine yourself drifting like a small boat on still water, every gentle ripple carrying you farther from wakefulness. The water is warm and endless, and there is no destination. Only the joy of floating without effort. Your body grows heavier with each moment. Your legs relax fully. Sinking into softness, your arms rest without tension, your eyelids are heavy, warm. And still, from your perspective, you are already halfway in a dream. And the voice has become a distant companion, guiding you with the last threads of wakefulness. Let go. There is nothing to hold, nothing to do, only to rest. The words repeat like a soft mantra, each one melting into the night, each one quieter than the last. The world is weightless now, and you are drifting far beyond the story. The village, the river, the forest, and the stars, all of them dissolve into the softest darkness. From your listener's perspective, you no longer need to imagine or remember anything. Sleep is the only journey left, and it moves through you effortlessly, like a tide carrying a leaf to the sea. A gentle whisper remains. The last voice of the story, warm and unhurried. The journey is over. You have walked through history. You have rested in the quiet of the world. And now, it is your time to dream. The words are slow, falling one by one, like drops of water into a still pond. Each drop sends calm through your mind, and each ripple carries you farther into sleep. Breathe in. Slowly, breathe out. Fully. Your breath is the only rhythm that matters. Now a soft wave rolling in, a gentle wave rolling out. Every breath carries you deeper, past the last edge of thought, where only peace remains. The voice continues in a hushed murmur, more like a breeze than a sound. You are safe. You are calm. The night is endless and kind. Sleep and drift into dreams. From your perspective, you are already beyond words, floating in the warmth of the moment. No past, no future. Only the soft presence of now. If a thought appears, you place it gently on the quiet river of your mind and watch it float away, downstream into the soft dark. The river carries everything for you: memories, dreams, even the story itself. And as the river drifts away, it leaves you lighter than air, as if you are sleeping in the sky itself. Sleep now. The world will wait. The stars will keep watch, and the river will carry your dreams. The words grow quieter, slower, and soon they are almost gone, like a candle flickering at the edge of night. A long, gentle silence follows, broken only by your slow, steady breath. The silence is the story's gift, holding you in a timeless cradle of calm. If you are still faintly aware, the final whisper reaches you. If this journey brought you calm, you are welcome to return, to walk through history with us again. Subscribe and let the past bring you peace. Then the voice fades completely, leaving only the endless, protective quiet of night. You are asleep now, carried by the soft rhythm of the world, dreaming under the same sky that watched over history itself.